What is up? Hear me out, sports. We're back with another episode, and we're going to be talking tight ends today. Let's run it. All right, first off, I am super excited. We've got the first game of the season. From here on out, it's football season. There's nothing on TV except for football every Sunday, every Monday, every Thursday. That's just the go-to. She-Hulk, forget that. Let's throw on Thursday night football. All right, so we're going to kick it off. We're talking tight ends. I want to explain to you all first that we each have thresholds between me, Kiana, and Chanson covering our respective positions within our videos. For tight ends today, we're talking 10 points. If we think that they can score 10 points or higher, they're marked as a start for us. We got that from just averaging out some of the tight ends, some of the top 24 tight ends, and I guess top 12 tight ends averaging their score and seeing what it is. And so we're going to run it through and give you our picks based off of that. So without further ado, kicking off with Thursday Night Football, we got the Buffalo Bills against the Super Bowl winners, Los Angeles Rams. And let's see how they can defend their title. So we're looking at Dawson Knox and Tyler Higbee. I've got to start for both. Dawson Knox, I think he's just going to be able to continue to get those looks. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Those scrambling quarterbacks, a lot of times they put linebackers into a tricky position where the linebacker then has to decide, hey, am I going to pick up this quarterback who could rush for 10 plus yards, or am I going to continue to cover my guy? I think that puts him in a position to do little dunks right over the head to their tight ends. So Dawson Knox, I got to start. Tyler Higbee, listen, I just think Matthew Stafford is good at showing the love all around. So I'm just going to start Tyler Higbee, and we're going to see how that goes. That kicks us off over to Sunday with New Orleans Saints versus the Falcons. Listen, I'm excited about this game too. From a tight end perspective, though, not so much. The fact that you got Taysom Hill as the possible tight end here, and he was playing quarterback 1-2 seasons ago, that's not very helpful in my mind. Listen, he's an incredible athlete, but I don't think that that's what you want your former quarterback to be doing. So I'm just benching them both. I got Kyle Pitts on the Atlanta Falcons, mainly because I'm not entirely sure on their receiver core. I'm honestly not sure on their quarterbacks as well. You got Marcus Mariota, who's got to start this game, and I think Kyle Pitts can pick up. Again, I saw it. Marcus Mariota, he was scrambling, and he was doing what he needed to around the pocket, so I think he could pick up some quick little hits here and there and score above 10 points. So just because of the lack of receivers, I'm going to give it to Kyle Pitts on Start'em this time. We'll go on next to our Cleveland Browns versus Carolina Panthers, where we got David Njoku and we got Tommy Tremble, and Ian Thomas. I'm going to start David Njoku. I am not confident on that one, though. He's going to be lower on the list of starts if we were rack and stack them. He's going to be lower on that list because I just don't have confidence in the Cleveland Browns, especially as Deshaun Watson's suspended for the first 11 games or whatever it may be. Carolina Panthers, though, on the other hand, I am more confident about their team, but because they have some decent receivers in Robbie Anderson, in DJ Moore, and even in their third string, Shi Smith or whoever it may be, I'm more confident in them. And out of the backfield, Christian McCaffrey, he is a receiving threat, and that is for sure. So because of that, I think that, I don't think the tight ends here in Carolina are going to be getting the looks that they need in order to score above 10 points. So I got them both sat on the bench. Now we're going over to San Francisco, or I guess to Chicago, playing the 49ers. George Kittle, he is going to be one of my three guys that I have as automatic start just about every week. And I will let you know if you tune in when you should not start him. But as of right now, man, just keep him going. Keep him on that roster. Don't move him. Then Cole Kmet. I am excited to see what Cole Kmet can do. I think Justin Fields is a good scrambling quarterback. They have a terrible offensive line, meaning that the play doesn't have time to develop. And so that could lead to a couple quick dunks over the top. That could lead to quick route running. So, between him and Mooney, they're going to have to get the ball off quick. So I got big hopes for Cole Kmet. We're going to see what he can do there in Chicago. It's a home field game, so you got to keep that into account. Next, we're moving on to Pittsburgh Steelers versus Cincinnati Bengals. Pat Freiermuth. Listen, nothing super special, but he's kind of up there on the rankings. He's kind of like a mid-tier tight end. I'm going to start him this time. We're going to see what happens against Cincinnati Bengals. This has potential to be a higher scoring game, but with Trubisky under center, I am not very confident. So if you have other options, I would start them over probably. But also on the other hand, Cincinnati Bengals, I got Hayden sat. I just think there's other targets, better targets, both again out of the backfield. Same thing as Carolina Panthers. You got good targets in the receiving core and in the backfield. So why start a tight end who's probably not going to get that many looks? So we're going to pass on him this week. Now we're going on to what I have as my matchup of the week. Each week I'm going to be trying to give you guys what I think is the best matchup as far as the position is concerned of the week. So this time we got the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Detroit Lions. I think both of these tight ends are about even on their gameplay. I would personally say TJ Hawkinson is a little bit better, but I'm also a little bit biased as a Lions fan. But Dallas Goedert, man, he could have a heyday because the Lions don't have a good receiving core. So, good linebacker core, sorry. So given that, man, he could just run up and down the field with as many looks as Jalen Hurts will give him. On the other side, Detroit Lions. Now, this is a case where, again, it's like Carolina Panthers. You have the receivers, you have the running back who all are catching threats, but TJ Hawkinson was running. He was number one for routes ran as a tight end, and he was getting tons of looks from Jared Goff. Now, I've heard Jared Goff is more comfortable and he's not checking down as often to TJ Hawkinson. But with that being said, I mean, he's already got that relationship, and it should be a thing of beauty to see how this new Detroit Lions offense works in this upcoming season. We'll kick it over now to Houston, where we got the Colts playing the Texans. Both of these are going to be a sit. I'm just not high on either of them. I think that this could end up being kind of a trash game, but excited for it nonetheless because, listen, it's week one of the NFL season, so get up for it. We got Mo Ali Cox. I'm sitting him. I think that if the check down option is needed, is going to Jonathan Taylor. And then on the Houston Texans side, man, I just don't even know what to think about them, period. I think their quarterback is just, you can't trust it. So that alone has me benching these. Now, we're going to way over to Miami. We've got the Patriots versus the Dolphins. We're going to start Hunter Henry. I think he's going to get more looks than Jonnu Smith, more time. I think he's just going to be their kind of go-to option there, so I'm going to keep him in. On the other hand, we got the Miami Dolphins. Some people had Mike Gesicki as a sit this week, and I disagree. I think that, like the Lions, because there's other targets, he could have less attention on him, and that could open him up for some quick looks. And depending on how the game goes, they might not need too many deep balls. And so I want to see how Tua responds, especially given the score. So I guess I'm going to start him. He's kind of lower on the list just because it's a saturated receiving core. So everyone's going to be getting the love, which means that no one has an outstanding game. But I think he's going to be above 10 points. So we're going to start him. Now we're going over to Baltimore Ravens versus the New York Jets. New York Jets, I'm going to just jump to them real quick and say right now they're a mess. Their starting quarterback's out, Zach Wilson. Joe Flacco, listen, he's got good passing, but 0 feet, so we're going to see how he does. And I don't like it. So now we're going over to the Baltimore Ravens. Mark Andrews, as I said before, there's going to be 3 tight ends I say start every single week, and he is going to be one of them. So between him and I guess Kittle, who I previously mentioned, there's 2 of them. So we're going to move on and see if we can find the third here in a little bit. Jacksonville Jaguars, we're sitting Evan Ingram. Washington Commanders, we're sitting Logan Thomas. I'm just not confident. This game, I think, is not going to be that exciting. It's not going to have that many big plays. And I think that there's other targets in both of these places that I guess it's just not going to be huge on tight end. I think they could, especially Evan Ingram, I think he could be in the 9-ish point range, but I'm not hopeful that he's going to break 10. So we're going to bench these 2. Moving over to the New York Giants versus the Tennessee Titans. Again, we're going to bench them both. I think New York has some new-ish receivers there, and I want to see how that goes. as far as the Tennessee Titans, listen, they revolve around the run game. So their tight end needs to be a good pass blocker. They don't need to necessarily be a good receiver. And so I think based off of their run game and Tannehill's run game, actually, check the stats. I don't think they're going to get too much love to their tight end. So we're going to move on. Now, here's the 3 of 3, rounding it out. Kansas City Chiefs, Travis Kelce, start every single week. The only time you would probably not start any of those 3 is on their bye week. Need I say more? They have newer faces there in Kansas City. So that being said, the relationship Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes already have, it's established. It's good, and I think it's going to continue to roll on. Zach Ertz, I had him kind of high up on the sit-em list, so I want to see him succeed, and I think he has the potential to break 10 in this game, but I am keeping him on sit because I just don't trust it. They have Hollywood Brown. They have some other bigger names there that I think they're going to be looking towards, and they're going to try to test out here. So with that being said, we're going to bench Zach Ertz, but if he is your only tight end and your only other option is to drop him to pick up another tight end, I would say keep him. Let's see how he does, especially in this first game or two, and go from there. Now we're going to kick it on over to the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Los Angeles Chargers. Here, Darren Waller, he's almost in that top 3. Let's just start him every single time. But I will say I have a vendetta against him. I had him in my league a year ago, and he just did not carry me, and I was just not stoked about it. So I'm still keeping him as a start because he's good. He definitely has the skill that he needs. We're going to see how injuries play out. There's been some complaints recently of an injury, so I don't think that that's too legitimate, but I think he'll be fine. Start him. He's going to get you above 10 points. The Chargers, we got Gerald Everett, and listen, sit him. There's other targets there. Justin Herbert's going to be throwing to some of these other guys, and I would say just go watch Kayana's video, and he's going to be talking about wide receivers, and he's going to tell you how many targets these other guys have. So you got to keep that in mind with these saturated markets. Now, if it's a pass-heavy offense, then that's another story. So we'll see how that goes. But with Austin Eckler, they're going to be going to him a lot. Now, moving on over to the Green Bay Packers versus the Minnesota Vikings. We got a divisional game here. I'm starting neither, though. The only thing I really want to mention here is, I guess I'll mention 2 things. One, Green Bay Packers, not a lot of returning receiving core. So with that being said, I don't think there's lots of rapport built up there. And I think that's big with Aaron Rodgers. So I guess we'll see how that treats him. But with the Minnesota Vikings, I'm going to say the same thing I said with the Cardinals. Listen, if you have to get rid of Irv Smith in order to pick up someone else, don't do it. I think he's higher up on the sit-em list, and I want to see how he does. I kind of just want to see if they can establish him in his offense and if he can get the looks he needs. With that being said, let's move on over to Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Dallas Cowboys. I think this will be a pretty good game. It has the potential to be high scoring. That being said, we're going to bench Cameron Brate just because I don't think that the tight end is going to be as seen there. Looking at the receiving core, and again, Leonard Fournette, they're pretty saturated. And Cameron Brate does not have that same relationship that Rob Gronkowski had with Tom Brady. So Tom Brady, I think, is just going to do what he needs to do and throw a couple dingers to some of these receivers and score. And with that being said, Dallas Cowboys got Dalton Schultz, and I think that they might be behind here. I think it's kind of likely that they'll be behind, and so they'll have to be passing more. And with that being said, they're going to be hitting. You got CeeDee Lamb as the clear wide receiver 1. Dalton Schultz is kind of the wide receiver 2, despite him being a tight end. So I'm going to keep him here and start him. We'll move on now to the Denver Broncos. I can't start Albert O yet. I have to see how this new Denver's Broncos system works with Russell Wilson there at quarterback, and we're gonna kind of just see how they function, see how his checkdowns go, see his progression. Obviously, he's a tried and true quarterback. I'm not a huge fan of him, but I think that he has the potential to get some good points for himself and for his receivers. So I guess we'll just go from there and see how they work this first game. And Seattle Seahawks, aren't necessarily a good person to vet the Broncos, but they're a good place to start, I guess. Start at level 1, right? Seattle Seahawks, though, we'll start Noah Fant just because I don't know who else they have, so I think they're going to have to hit him. That's literally all I'm going to say about that. So that wraps up Monday Night Football there. Very exciting. Listen, tune in every time. Hear us out. Check weekly because we're going to be giving away money. So if you're there, if you have the opportunity, try to comment, try to like, subscribe, and get after us because we're going to be giving away money and we want to give money to the people who actually are doing these things. So hit us up, comment below, and check out our other videos for week 1. We want to help you succeed. If you want, DM us on Instagram, DM us on Twitter, and we'll try to help you out, hit you up, and make sure you can win your games, win your matchups, especially if it's a tight one. And that's all we got to say. So signing out here.